Om Tat Sat. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman or God, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananji Maharaj, to sage Narada and all the sages and saints, and to each of you, divine soul, watching today's satsang. Today we will be studying Sutra number 9 from chapter 1 of the Narada Bhakti Sutras, and commentaries by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. And so let's get started. Sutra 9, Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is Nature of Parabhakti or Supreme Devotion. So let's get started. It is Tasmin Ananyata Tadvirodhishu Udasinata cha. One more time. Tasmin Anyanyata Tadvirodhishu Udasinata cha. Meaning, cessation is also single-minded devotion to God and indifference towards all that is obstructive in your Godward movement. So in Sutra 7, divine love is described as the nature of Nirodha. In Sutra 8, the meaning of Nirodha is set forth as renunciation of all worldly and spiritual actions and complete surrender to the divine self or Ishwar Pranidhana. The present sutra emphasizes the mystic art by which all actions are easily renounced. It's called the art of single-minded devotion, one-pointed thought. Just as a child constantly thinks of its mother, or a passionate man thinks of his beloved, or a devoted wife thinks of her husband, or a miser thinks of his gold or wealth, in the same manner, a devotee must constantly think of God. It's called Tail Dharavat. Just like you pour oil from one bottle to the other, it is single pointed. Or when you try to thread a needle, it's single pointed devotion. This is because a devotee knows the God, the Supreme Self, is the reality of his being as well as the reality behind all the names and forms. And therefore, his one-pointed love for God surpasses all the previous analogies. These examples we use are just to relate to the worldly side of things and how intense we feel while in the world. But the divine bliss is beyond our wildest imagination. We cannot. But since sages and saints use these examples because that's the best worldly example they can use for us. So sage Dattatreya, while describing the many gurus, he had 24 gurus and he learned something from everybody. Guru is somebody who removes your darkness. Gu means darkness and Ru means remover. So someone who creates light when you are in the dark is a guru. So sage Dattatreya learnt lessons from everybody, many people. Therefore he had 24 gurus. But in this instance, regarding single-minded devotion, he tells of an arrow maker who was so absorbed in his work that he did not see a great procession of a king that passed right before him. So everybody was looking at the king and the procession, and sage Dattatreya was looking at this arrow maker who was so keenly doing his work, that he didn't even realize the king had come and gone by. So much in the same way, a person must keep his mind so intent upon his spiritual goal of supreme love, parabhakti, that he should not even be aware of the world experienced by the masses, the world of love and hate, pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow. See, it all comes in dualities. So most people are living at that level, whereas a supreme devotion, bhakta, is beyond all that. He is living within himself and with his God. Along with single minded devotion, a devotee must develop indifference towards everything hostile towards God. So, things that are obstructing your movement, your onward journey, your spiritual progress should be considered as obstacles. These are anger, greed, egoism, pride, vanity, violence, passion. They are all hostile to God. They all dump us into the world, take us away from God, because they obstruct the revelation of the fullness of love, which is God Himself. God is Prema Sarupa, or love. So, a devotee who is established in Parabhakti is absolutely indifferent to all the worldly values. He has attained the climax of self surrender. He has done complete Sharanagati. His ego is defaced, becoming slowly non existent. So, an aspirant still on the path, however, must promote these qualities with repeated practice and sustained self effort. So, as you know, these are so many vices, and for us to remove them is where the real sadhana and practice of bhakti is. So, if we get angry and we notice that, we should try not to do it again. We will again get angry, but the quantity should slowly go down. So, this is a gradual process, it's in spirals, and we should not expect instant miracles to happen. And that's why this is a lifelong journey. But as you grow, as you mature, if you are consistently doing your sadhana and practice, you will start to enjoy the bliss of Parabhakti over time. This is Swami Nikhilananda, and we'll cover Sutra number 10 tomorrow. Om Tat Sat.